Cheers, everybody, and welcome back to Michigan Bros Grow Show, episode 276. We got our panelists tonight. I'll fill it out with Nuttree, Terra Nation. I've got my audio playing on my second monitor there. We got Russ and Emily, and of course, me for Girly. How you guys doing tonight? I think we'll have Red and Becca joining us in a little bit too.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think so. They're putting the baby down.
I am doing well. How is everybody else? Emily, are you doing well?
I'm so well. I'm not high enough. We can work on
That's
that.
not high.
We need to work on that.
It can be well.
I was
I'm
working
doing
on
good.
that 2 minutes pre-show.
I'm doing good. I'm ready to get higher.
We swung from this like 85 degree what was it, Saturday or Thursday, Friday or something like that to I don't know, it's like we didn't get frost on the ground, fortunately, because I think it was only about a week ago that we had our last frost on the ground. But I drove across the state today, and man, was it foggy. It was like everything was rising off the ground. It was misting from the sky. It was just a weird kind of cold, muggy weather day. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, not good for the plants outside, that's for sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking. The way what loves it?
The brassicas love it. Your kale, your lettuce, and your spinach, but nothing else does.
Yeah, it's not like warm and sunny, which helps with growth, right? But I'm thinking like it's kind of been wet, and that's been nice because I've definitely been through some summers where like you're watering your garden multiple times a week, and if you don't, the shit's just gonna die, Whereas like I don't know if this is how it's going to be all year round. We might get away with never watering at all.
We had like 10 straight days of rain, so we've had a nice little break from the rain, and it's been super nice. We had really hot weather, and I shouldn't say it's been hot. It's been 80s, but the humidity hasn't been there, which is really nice because down here the humidity stinks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been nice not to have that, but it has been warm. We've been like even today was like high like 83, 84.
Oh wow. Dang.
Yeah,
okay.
But it was nice because it was a nice cool breeze, and it was super nice. Nice weekend.
Okay, it was kind of like that. If you were standing in the sun and there wasn't a breeze, then it was really nice outside.
Yeah, I definitely needed like a sweater if I was like in the shade or something for sure.
Russ and Emily, did you guys get smacked at that storm? Was it like 2 nights ago? That came through like the entirety of Michigan?
Kind of. We got like the outside edge of it.
Okay.
The coolest part was about, I don't know what time it was, maybe 11:30 or so. And we heard this loud like crack, and it was two of them in a row. And so then the next day when we went out there, the tree in the front yard is split through. It got hit by lightning.
Whoa.
Nothing fell. It doesn't look like it's tipped really, but
it's a neighbor's tree. We don't have to worry.
Yeah.
It's leaning their way too. So
down here we honestly had lightning that night. We didn't get any rain from it, and the lightning that was going on was like for 30 minutes straight, but you didn't hear anything of it. It
just
was
like heat lightning.
This was insane because I literally could hear the lightning slice the sky and then hear the sky boom together. It's like you hear like electric sound, like electricity, and then you hear
south of us got tore up with tornadoes. Like down in southern Kentucky, they got really tore up.
Yeah, we had a tornado warning, but I don't think there was too much damage. I mean, I saw some trees down and stuff like that. I think we were pretty fortunate here in terms of the damage, but I was staring at my wife woke me up at like 12:30 in the morning because she's getting a little nervous, and I'm glad she did because it wasn't too much longer after that we actually got the tornado warning. So it's like, go grab the kids, go grab the dogs, like let's get the hell away from the windows, so that's a fun in the middle of the night thing to do. But it was actually pretty cool to not only look out the window but go stand on the porch and just stare into the abyss and almost see more light than darkness in the middle of the night, which was wild because there was so much lightning that you could, thank God I'm not epileptic because it was like that bad. I would have probably seized out, but it was like flashing, flash. And it was 15-20 minutes straight of that. I've never seen so much lightning at one time. And of course there's a lot of rain and some pretty serious wind, but the lightning really blew my mind.
I love seeing that though, man, because it's literally splitting the nitrogen off of the air, and it's fucking attaching to the water, and raindrops, and the fucking you're literally getting watered with some high nitrogen or some nitrogen fertilizer by the.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I
That's why
don't know anything about what you're saying right now, and I know that. Okay, so I do know that one of the greatest and most terrifying technological advancements, aka inventions or whatever processes you want to call it, that we came up with was being able to extract nitrogen out of the air, right? And so that kind of sounds like what you're talking about, except mixing it with lightning and water, and then watering our plants with it, which is fucking cool.
Yeah, this is the energy. The electricity actually splits the nitrogen molecule off of the oxygen. It's a gas in the air, and so it splits it and makes it able to bond with the water as it fucking falls. And so that's why after a rain, especially a thunderstorm rain, the plants get so in the grass and everything gets so much greener because it's getting that little.
Do you have any idea like what level of ppms we're talking about here? You know what I mean?
No, I haven't measured
it first.
I'd have to. What you got to do is just get a bucket, set it outside,
Right.
and let it rain during a lightning storm or whatever, and measure it.
Don't hold the bucket during the storm. Maybe just leave it out there and then measure it like the next day or later after it's
Well,
done.
yeah, and I don't know if it would measure the same because ppm measures like, I think that's measuring the salt, like the salt that's bonded.
Right,
to,
could be anything.
yeah.
How do you
I'm
narrow
not sure.
down to just nitrogen?
That's a good question though.
Cheers, Red Setter. Welcome, dude.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up, Red?
Speaking of trees being down, there was
I was
a
just
tree down of one of my buddy's places over in Cleveland area that fell and hit his car and pretty much totaled his car. It was pretty bad.
Oh,
There was storms to the north and storms to the south of me. It kind of missed me. Go ahead, Red.
oh no, that's way more important than what I have to
Oh,
say.
sorry.
My buddy almost died, and go ahead, Red.
Cheers, guys. Hope everybody is okay.
He wasn't in the car or nothing.
Yeah, how'd you guys fare through that storm? You get hit with anything?
A lot of lightning. Yeah, it was really a lot of rain, like a lot of rain, heaping buckets of rain. We had some it looked like somebody made crop circles in our grass area out there with like rain,
That's cool.
like flattened down some area. Like our whole garden was good except for like right along our fence line. It was like there was like a water spout like right there. But I'm guessing it was like the trees buckling and then all the water falling off of the trees at once or something like that. Everybody, I don't know. And I saw some explosive growth after that storm, though. The nitrogen is definitely coming out of there. I'm curious if we realized our technology, if we discovered our technology to be able to pull nitrogen out of the air from lightning, from that technology, from lightning splitting. I wonder if it's a similar technology, if they're just splitting atmospheric humidity or something like that and pulling nitrogen out of the water vapor or something like that.
So I looked it up. What Russ is talking about. So yeah, 78% of our atmosphere is nitrogen. It's not like what most people think is just oxygen because that's what we breathe, right? But it's actually mostly oxygen or mostly nitrogen, just like our bodies are mostly water. It's all fucking fractal, man. 80%, 80, 20, 20, 80. Anyways, so the nitrogen in the air though is actually two nitrogen molecules bonded together very tightly, and that's where that lightning comes in, breaks apart, and now we have a usable nitrogen product. I don't know if that's how they discovered it. I think it was actually World War II scientists that came up with it. I may be wrong there, but and I think the idea was to use it for farming, right? And I think that's, or maybe I'm saying this wrong. Maybe the idea was to use it for war, and we actually found out to use it for farming, or vice versa.
Nitrate, chemical fertilizer from petroleum was synthesized in the late 1800s, and it was incredibly expensive to use for farming. It was originally used for farming. They found that it was cheaper to create that source of nitrate for ammunition than it was to mine it. Okay, so if you go back into the 1800s, we have Mammoth Caves in Kentucky, and Mammoth Caves were mined for the guano, not for fertilizer purposes, but for the War of 1812. So they mined the guano out, and honestly, it's kind of a hard history. It's kind of dark part of history. Because they would send They would send, people unwilling to want to go in there to work them, make them go in there and work them, and navigate these mines. And a lot of these people wouldn't come out of these mines. But anyway, dark story past. Nitrates were originally pulled from bat shit and bird shit and chicken shit and animal shit and all kinds of shit, And
But who wants to wait around for things to shit when you can just pull it out of the air where it's just all around you?
At some point, they began to use a petroleum source, and then it was used for farming, but it was also used for munitions. And then the war came, and so what ended up happening was it was really, really, really expensive for farming. So it wasn't popular to use for farming in the late 1800s. What ended up happening is we had an excess of it come wartime era, World War I and World War II, early 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. That ammonium nitrates and nitrates in general, oxygen derived, air derived, petroleum derived, all the different derivatives of nitrates became much, much cheaper because of the availability for wartime era in preparation for making munitions. So with the excess of it became a reduction in pricing. And so what it ended up happening was they had so much of it that, it wasn't being used for munitions anymore. But they found out that it was a great fertilizer and it was a great, so what they did was they went out and they snake oil salesmen, well, not really. I mean, it worked. It was a, they gave it away. They gave the shit away to farmers. There's a lot of farmers, old timer farmers that talk about it, and you hear some interviews of them talking about these guys coming around back in the 40s and the late 40s, 50s, 60s. They were still doing it. 70s, they were still doing it, coming around to people's farms, giving away these nitrates, giving away a lot of these fertilizers just to throw it out on your grass. And then they'd see the explosive growth, and they couldn't pass it up. You couldn't beat it. You know what I mean? So they'd use it. What came with that was the excessive growth of weeds and then the need for, herbicides and all the other stuff that seeped in and destroyed our water table. And we have excessive nitrate blooms now in Lake St. Clair that cause algae that you can actually walk on, and you could probably build a house on some of these algae blooms on Lake St. Clair that are primarily caused from high nitrates.
And then the whole next step was, we have a weed problem. Let's just GMO the crops so that we can continue to spray a herbicide on it, and it'll kill the weeds, and then it won't kill your regular crop.
Yeah, so just rather than spraying the stuff, you just spray, So now you just feed herbicides. So now let's use herbicides as our main thing. And here we are today, where that 80-20 rule, where 20% of our blood is now glyphosate and broad spectrum herbicides.
So it's the Haber-Bosch process is the one I was looking for. It's where they are extracting nitrogen from the atmosphere and transforming it in fertilizer, basically turning it into ammonia, or to some extent, I guess, depending if you're just looking at the chemical makeup of it. But yeah, it's a nitrogen hydrogen chemical mixture. He got a Nobel Prize for it in, I think, 1918 or 1919. I think they started doing that in 1913. But he's, same guy. Haber's known as the father of chemical warfare for use of chlorine gas and killing.
It's a much more, I guess, clean source of energy if you were to try to synthesize petroleum for nitrate, ammonium nitrate, or whatever it is. I think
Cleaner how?
It's cleaner to pull it out of the air than it is to synthesize take.
I would assume so. I would even assume that it's cleaner than the organic process of just collecting caves worth of guano. You know what I mean? And
the organic process we've already went over. It's called lightning, and you have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the collecting I mean, in theory, you could do it with a lot of chicken. Like you could farm it.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, you're talking about storage and biomass and rendering. Everyone's just render shit all the time, and you could just take a straw to the atmosphere and suck it out.
Yeah, a lot of cow farms are doing that. Taking all their cow shit and rendering it into fertilizer. Trust me, I smell it a couple times a year.
I've actually seen a handful of large scale farms. They may be Amish farms. Black
Spreading.
soil, super black soil, and they smell. And it's like, man, I haven't smelled stinky farms in decades. It's kind of nice to see a natural manure farm at scale.
Oh, buddy, go driving through the Thumb. Okay, here. The day before opening day, detour through the Thumb, because the day before opening day, I think, is when they're spreading all their shit so they can go sit in their blinds for the next couple of days, getting all that work done. Because on the way up, I'm like, dude, it's so bad.
There's not a better time, is there? Come on, that's the best time.
Cover all the human smells while you're sitting in the blind. You ain't got to worry about the deer smelling you.
Get the fields smelling like shit. No one's fucking with your fields while you're gone. All right, now you can go.
It's one way of looking at it. Yeah, that's funny. We just came across a maybe one of you guys can think of it before I can look it up, but on Amazon Prime I came across a video. It must have been a documentary or a docu-series, and it was all about regenerative farming. And I knew it the second the trailer started playing. I'm like, oh, I bet this is about regenerative farming. And sure enough, it was. I have yet to watch it. I literally just saw the trailer last night, but let's see if I can pull it up.
What did you say it was on? It was on Netflix?
Prime.
On Prime.
I haven't seen that one yet.
What's the name of it?
I'm trying to look it up right now. That's what I was hoping you guys. Common Ground, maybe? Is that the one?
I don't know.
I haven't heard about that.
2025.
I don't know what the fuck you watched. Why are you asking me?
Uh-huh.
Is Joel Salatin one of the names in that?
You told me.
Well, that sure ain't him.
I have not seen this one.
Nope, me either.
Hour and 41 minutes. Came out this year, so it's got to be fairly new. Common Ground, the sequel to the groundbreaking documentary Kiss the Ground. I don't know if I saw that one either. Follows the pioneers of the regenerative movement, featuring Jason Momoa, and Donald Glover. Wasn't expecting celebrities to be in this at all. This uplifting story reveals how innovators are creating a new food system that produces nutrient-dense foods while healing our climate, bodies, and ecosystem. Yeah, here's Kiss the Ground by Josh Tickell. Oh, this is just going to take me to the book, I guess. But there you go.
Ooh.
Well, that's where you can buy it, guys, and you can get the book Kiss the Ground. They're on Shama.
or get it directly from Josh Tickell.
Go to your local bookstore.
That's what you do.
Hit up the author.
Yeah. I might even get a signed copy.
Speaking of Joel Salatin, I got one of his books directly from him. That was nice to do.
It's cool.
With a small... They have a book about small farms. Polyface Micro, I think, is the book that I got. Polyface Farm. He was Joel Salatin got his name because he was in Food Inc. Netflix has a documentary called Food Inc. It's probably 10 years old by now. But he's a notable regenerative farmer at scale. At a scale where and he does beef, he does cattle and chickens, sheep. He does a little bit of everything. But the way that he works his land is that it's actually like it regenerates. It's like the true form of regenerative. He's not using GMO crops. He's not using anything besides what his land's able to produce. I'm sure he brings in animal feed and things like that, of course, but he moves his animals in a way that it allows the land to heal itself. Like a lot of a lot of good farms will keep cattle or animals just in general in one area every season. They'll allow the other areas to.
Mud pie.
Yeah, if you just
Just
let
throw
them,
the hay in there. Fuck it. You know.
if you just let them like if we just let our chickens, for example, go into our whole garden, they just eat the whole thing. You know, they just go to town and. You know, so essentially you kind of like corral them and give them little paddocks and move them around and allow the space prior to them heal, and eventually you move them back to that spot and they eat again. But there, you know, there's ways of moving them around. Obviously you have to have a big property. You know, this isn't something you'd be doing in a small. If you have a small neighborhood home, like if we had a cow in our backyard, we'd just leave the cow in our backyard. Obviously, we have a small backyard. Wait, there's not enough space.
Oh, that is what I want to see. That or an alpaca, please.
Hey, all things are considered. You know, never know.
I can see the alpaca.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
And then for
Looking
Golden,
over
we
the
need,
fence.
we need you to fly the drone over top of it and just swoop.
We were just talking the other day about getting either alpaca or llamas. I think we were looking at the difference. Alpacas, I think, are smaller than llamas, and
They spit less. They're just way better. Yeah, they're just way
Yeah.
better in general. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
I guess
good
this-
stuff they do. is
Beck
pretty
says, slow your roll is ducks next. Don't forget about
Oh
the
yeah. We were talking about giving our garden to some ducks. We were like, maybe we just throw some ducks back there to control our slug population. They won't kick shit around like chickens will.
Yeah, they'll just give
wait a
you
minute.
giant wet shits on everything, dude. They will dig. They dig holes with their beaks in the ground, like they will dig like divots
So
in
they
your
do-
whole
they're gonna
yard.
shit on everything.
They are oh dude, they are so bad. I love
They don't like
ducks, don't
shit
get
in
me
the
wrong, but
pathways.
they're the
Yeah.
they're the smelliest, most nastiest, messiest, friendliest, meanest, and most personality kind of bird you can have, I think. But
They do have a good personality. I agree with you. That.
When our chickens get out, my number one like the one thing that annoys me when they get out is that they fuck up my pathways. They'll kick the shit around. They'll kick
put
stuff
mulch on
beds
it.
into the pathway. They'll kick the pathway into the beds. They'll.
You gotta get those
Hey.
little arms that you can hang on them. Those little arms are like this. So
I got the ones that are flipping you off.
there you go. That's even better.
Amazing.
Fuck you.
Red, every day I walk up my steps, I have to kick mulch back into the garden because that's all they do.
Oh,
Is just
dude,
kick
it's-
mulch out
it's-
of it so they can look for bugs.
It's the turds. It'd be one thing if they were little
Yeah, that too.
like rabbit turds, right? But they're these they stick to your feet, they stick to everything, man. You step in that shit and it just
It
like
take all day to dry
on
out.
your foot and take it everywhere with you. And yeah, I'm not a fan. The one time I put shoes on in the garden is the chicken coop area, and
Whoa. So you're not going all natural Wookfoot in your own backyard?
I will run back there barefooted in an emergency or
We have to wash my kids' feet every time we bring them inside. Let me just
but
start
I'm
there.
not going in the chicken area. The chickens are not moved. The chickens are not quote unquote regenerative. If anything in our garden was regenerative, the food is regenerative, not the chickens. The chickens are free range if you want to go by like definitions. They are free range. And in the wintertime, they're technically pasture raised because they get enough square footage for a pasture raised chicken. Did you know that a pasture raised chicken doesn't actually have to be on a pasture? It only has to have like 110 square feet to roam. So that's a 10 by 10 by 11 area per chicken.
Poor chicken, yeah.
So our 10 chickens, whatever we got, I don't know what it is, 25 by 50. I think that covers our 10
Rolly, can you switch over to that chicken I shared down there with the middle fingers?
Oh shit, sorry. There you
Is that what you got?
Yeah, they're not red. Like the red arms.
go. They should
They work
be.
well on
Red
that.
setter stickers on that.
On that
Yeah,
chicken.
yeah.
They're They're a good old fashioned
Flesh.
peachy fleshy. Yeah. That's funny.
Tonight on Third Talk.
We did clean out their coop for God. I mean, it's been a while, but got all of their pine shavings taken out and moved at additional compost areas, and so split up all their pine shavings plus a bunch of weeds, some wood, ash, shit out of the fire pit, but a whole bunch of shit. Made some compost, turned all the compost. We had our first farmers market 2 weeks ago. We haven't done a show in 2 weeks. A week and a half ago, midweek farmers market. Yeah, we did downtown farmers market. Big one, man. I'm not gonna say the name of the city that we did the farmers market. Not on the show right now, but yeah, we got into the farmers market. We did that one. It was kind of crazy because I was at Third Eye. Shout out to Third Eye Craft Fair. We did Third Eye Craft Fair. That was yesterday.
Curious to hear about that too, because unfortunately I missed it.
And I guess here's the transition into Third Eye Craft Fair. Somebody from the farmers market, a vendor from the farmers market, vending some single source olive oil.
Single source.
But, you'd be very surprised at how like cannabis is certainly not the only thing, and we think of like grapes to be comparative to like cannabis when we talk about like, I don't know, boutique products or artisan products or something like that. When we talk maybe wine, but I don't think we give like olive oil enough thought, because when you get into the world of olive oil, you get basic olive oil or any basic pressed oils from the grocery store. You're getting a product that has many farms olives pressed into this oil, and so
you say it's a full spectrum olive oil.
You're getting a very full, yeah, but you're not putting any focus on a single, like, let's say terroir or farms specific olive variety, so to speak. So I've now at couple different at the one farmers market that we do on Thursdays and the farmers market for Wednesdays and Saturdays. Now we've met two different olive oils. One person I think was from Turkey, I believe, and she had Turkish olive oil, and her farm is all single source olive. It's all, they call it, Becco in chat. It's not called single source, but it's called.
What makes it Turkish?
What's that?
What makes it Turkish? Like the process of making it, or
no,
where it's grown.
In Turkey.
She's at a farmer's market here selling Turkish products.
Turkish olive oil, right?
Buddy, that's what makes olive oil. I actually brought this up, I think, on this show Turkey? Like a month ago. No. I was talking about Italian olive oil, because my buddy brought back a bunch of Italian ones. They're all flavored and stuff, and it blew my fucking mind. But not to interrupt it, I'm on board with this, Red. I think
it's single origin is what they call it. I think it's called single origin. They don't call it single source, but basically it means that all your olives are either from the same variety but it's also on the same farm. They're using the same farm, and then it's either processed on that farm. Also, it's very similar
cold
to
press
cannabis. And then there's cold press compared to hot press. Cold press is very important. You're going to have different textures of oils, different consistencies. Of course, the differences in filtrations and virgin oils and fats and things like that added to it, left over. But
I think you're right. I think it is single origin olives, and then a global blend would be like a more affordable option. But like the high-end reserve collections apparently are like, yeah, single origin olives.
Yeah, so your box store brand is going to be everywhere. They're going to have a processor somewhere in the world getting olives from all over the world. And then so what these vendors will have at the farmers market is olive oil. A lot of times it's from, either they're a distributor for a family farm and they're just saying it's their family farm. I'm not sure too much about how they do their business, but if they're if they're being honest, it's their family farm. And it's single origin, and they get it processed, and then they sell it over here.
Yeah, it's worth spending a fat $20 on a bottle of olive oil just like once, just to see the difference, and dip some freaking French bread in that or something,
$6.60, yeah. $20 for a good bottle. Generally they'll run you, they'll get you to get the 3-bottle pack, and you'll end up spending $80 or something. They've got half gallons. I mean, they can make some solid money without moving olive oil. I mean, I imagine some of those half gallons are probably in the range of a few $100s.
Probably.
So anyway, so the olive oil vendor, I'm at Third Eye Craft Affair vending there, and all of a sudden I see the olive oil vendor walking by. I'm like, "Hey, I know you!" And I just like shouted out at him. And I was like, "Hey, come here! I know you!" And he was like, "I thought I recognized you." And I'm like, "Yeah, you were at the farmers market, aren't you?" And he was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, small world." We're not talking about. We're talking difference Ann Arbor and Lansing. It's kind of a difference in space, So it's nice to see the farmer worlds becoming a little bit more intermingled, and then other people from Third Eye Craft Affair, or at least just the cannabis world, I've seen at the local farmers markets as well. People coming up and saying hi. They either know me from the show or from the industry, community, whatever it is. Agents.
That's awesome.
Whatever.
Kind of a full circle kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe they're just checking up on us. I don't know.
Fetty feds.
Never know, man. One time, the trippiest one that really made me just shut off my phone. I was in Pennsylvania, and I was at a music festival, and I was there for like a whole day already. A storm came through, fucked up our campsite. Wake up in the morning, and there's somebody camped between us and the other tent, and the space was kind of like a walkway, and this person just kind of stuck a tiny tent in the walkway, like right on our campsite. Basically, it's festival grounds, you don't really have a campsite, you just kind of whatever, free for all. So he's really, really close to us. It tripped me out, dude, because he ended up being from, I don't know, dude, like 20 minutes away. Supposedly he saw that we had a U of M bucket, and that's why he camped out by us, which is plausible. But it really took me for a loop, because he was talking about Michigan, and he just kind of he was like kind of bald, had a beard, and just kind of built. And I was just like, "You're from Michigan, huh? How do you know I'm from Michigan?" He just kind of knew we were from Michigan, but like we had a bucket with Michigan on it. So I'm like, all right.
Red, trust me, we're not that important.
It's never.
But it was like before. It was like 2016. You know what I mean? So it was a while ago. It was like during the time to like be paranoid, and I was there. Of course, it was my own personal stash stashed in this radio that I had just a bunch of hash stashed in my radio. And it was the one time I got like a lot of flour into a festival, and this guy just ended up on our nuts. And I was like trying to work, and and this dude was just kind of on our nuts. And so yeah, how long ago was that? Yeah, that's been over 7 years. Yeah, it's been over 7 years. I can tell.
That statute of limitations, Chuck? Is that one?
Statute of limitations is over.
The only time that we actually do math on
It might have been a statute of limitations track.
Something that's really cool is there was one time in Illinois, we were going into a
Jewel
Osco, and I had to pick up some meds. And I was walking, and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't have my license. I got to go get my ID from the car."
So this is just a pharmacy kind of grocery
Yeah,
store.
it's like a grocery
selector.
store, pharmacy, 2-in-1 kind of a thing. And so I go back to the car and I grab my license and I'm like, I'm going to need to show them. So I walk up to the desk and the pharmacist says, "Hey, Emily." I was like, "Hi." Okay, maybe. I mean, I'd been in here a few times. I recognized the pharmacist. Maybe she recognized me. That was cool. So I got my stuff, and then she slides that little blue sticky note right there out under the desk thingy, and
Just grab it.
is it up there? Oh yeah.
Just grab it.
I mean, is it up there? I just pointed at it. Is it stuck up there? Is what I'm looking
I
for.
remember when you told me about this.
Yeah, and it's not gonna. I can't get it to show. Does it?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that. That's cool.
That's
funny.
hilarious.
Is a big fan of the show. Shh.
That's
Like shh.
That's
So-
funny.
That was awesome. I was like, to be recognized like that was super fucking cool. So that was a good experience, though. Sorry, Red.
The
Shout out to
shh
them,
was
right?
because it was like, don't worry about HIPAA. This is like a fan moment.
Well, she was like, I can't say anything, but I like your show too, and it was, I really appreciated that. That was
That's great. I would probably still go, "You're a fucking fat." Paranoid dude. That's exactly what a Fed would write. I'm just kidding. No.
it got
Oh.
slid under. Like what are you scribbling down here? What are you sliding?
Shout out to everybody who does say hello at events and in public or wherever. Sometimes I may seem distracted, and usually that's because I am.
You got a
Lots
lot
of-
going on at once, though, usually. So
That's
you're-
all it. That's all it is. That's all
you're
it is. I have a lot more going on in my mind than what you think is going on in my mind. So I'm normally just trying to like get through happily through the process of whatever it is that I'm doing and take in everything that I am. So when I do meet people, believe me, I am taking it in. I'm also battling distractions, so going through all of those waves. A lot of it is me trying to I have like when I'm functioning and doing tasks, I have to kind of always be thinking about my tasks. So I seem distracted on things that I might, I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody, but I might seem distracted. And that's usually because I'm just trying to retain what it is that I was doing, because it'll take me a really, really long time to get back on task if I don't. And so it's just more of a mechanism of holding it together, if you will. Definitely not, and it comes off as this like serious, almost bitch face thing, but that's just me trying to hold all my thoughts together. And I'm generally in a good mood, enjoying anybody who's trying to have a conversation. But it always ends up being kind of like this, It's always happy-go-lucky. But yeah, there's a lot going on, man. I enjoy being really busy. I enjoy being pressed. Drink a lot of coffee, so I need to
Speaking of
exercise.
press,
What's that?
I just press some.
Press.
I'm bankrupt too, so I just went and pressed some so I could have
Speaking
some.
of
Okay,
press,
that's badass as hell, man. That's a good solution.
the thing is that it sucks is we've got a freezer full of flour that needs processed, but I have not been able to get out of Cincinnati to make the trip up to do anything with it. So we're both kind of like bankrupt, but he's able to press something, and I ran to the dispo this evening, and normally I don't get stuff, but I've been trying to like sample different things down here, and a friend at work got a couple of things that made me want to try it, and it's strains that I love. So that's especially why I was wanted to give it a chance. But I picked up from Certified, which so far this is they don't I didn't save my boxes, sorry, but they're a company out of Dayton, I believe, and they're a flour and processing facility. So far, I've had some of their flour, and it's been really good. I've tried one of their carts, and it was yummy. Didn't I would maybe buy it, kind of thing. It wouldn't. I'm not really big on carts, so you got to really kind of turn my feathers for me to want to buy it. But yeah.
What'd you get from Certified?
I got their dark rainbow.
Right there.
Yeah, I love dark rainbow. I mean, it's GMO and rainbow belts, and it's a live resin batter. I'm a little skeptical to try other things than yours, but I've been trying to reach out there. And a friend at work had this, so I went ahead. Where's my little screen out? There we go. I got
Oh yeah, let me
that.
pop you up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Real nice. Great smells. So terpy, good high. Definitely really enjoy this one. I also picked up some permanent marker from Clutch. They're another brand that I have been trying to sample. Theirs doesn't look as good as that one, so I'm not showing it off, honestly.
You love permanent marker.
And I love permanent marker. I really do. And it's good, but it's not as good as the certified one. The certified one that would make me go back and get more. It's really good. But what I just did a dab of was my last dab of the cream royale
Nice.
from You Processed for Chuck D's Nugs, and it was so yummy. And sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're good.
Yeah, my bad. I'm back there again. Sorry. Oh, it's upside down. My bad. There we go. So good. I really love that one. It's nice and good for bedtime, and I'm gonna miss that one. I've been holding on to that dab.
Tara, how do you feel about going to the dispo and like finding something that you actually quite like? Does it make you feel kind of a little? Because it doesn't.
This is hard for me because, for one, the price point is not where I like it to be. But I get a 30% discount for industry. So I'm able to use that at all the dispensaries in town, which is nice. Because not always, sometimes on Fridays, I think they offer a 30. They won't let you stack here. Not like they do in Michigan, but I was able to get this certified 1 gram for, it was 30, like $7.50, I think is what it was. And I actually might've gotten a couple more dollars off of that. Obviously,
Does that come with the
tax
tool?
and that. I'm sorry.
Sweet talk 'em.
Frugally, it was showing a image, and Tara, I'm sorry that I spoke.
No, that's Clutch. That's the permanent marker. I got their batter.
Does that come with that tool?
It not that specific one, but just like a
Show me
little, like one of those little silvery. I don't even know where it went. I had one around here. Oh,
Oh,
here it
I
is.
got one.
Yeah, it's these
Pelly
little
players.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
silver
okay,
little
that's good.
thingies.
Right on. That comes.
Seems to be like all of the pucks are being given out with those here lately. I've been finding, or they even give you like a little plastic one. Obviously, I like the little metal one better, but I don't use it at all, so I just stick them over to the side.
Yeah,
But
some of the empty. I got some different sized concentrate containers, and
I still have not bought any flour though. I can't bring myself to buy any flour from the
Yeah,
business.
pull up that pricing again, man. That was like $40 for less than 3 grams.
It's 2.83 grams, and is the smallest amount that you can get, and then you can get a half ounce, and you can't even buy a whole ounce at times. You got to do 2 halves.
I feel like I need to do one of those Nashville things and pull up in one of those ice cream trucks real quick for like 20 minutes and then get the hell out of town.
I'll let you park in my driveway. Come
Good.
on.
That busy street,
It's so
I'll come down
silly,
there for
honestly.
like a
Well,
couple hours, you know.
Before we get too far off it, I just want to show this real quick. This is the Pelly Player dab tool. It's a paddle with his logo on it, so it's like a stirring paddle, but it is the thinnest little stainless steel cutout you've ever seen. But it fucking works. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
look at it, like it's super flexible, but This thing works as a dab tool, and you just, whatever.
I don't know where.
Sorry.
Isn't that a fucking dab tool? That's just added garbage.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie though. Do you
Yeah,
know
but
how
I've
many
used that
times-
for probably 100 dabs in the last 2 weeks.
What about the cannabis attorney's business card that has the dab? tool?
Exactly. That's yep.
Like
Same
I've caught
concept. That
myself
one's
many a
little
time without a dab
better.
tool, and I like break the head off a fucking Q-tip so that I can use
Same, Emily. I do the same fucking thing. I'm like, well, I guess I got half a Q-tip to still clean my
I
dab,
will
my
not
rig
even
with.
lie.
But
There is a butter knife in my freaking
Yeah.
bag that I
hey,
take
I've
with
used
me.
chopsticks before. I'm not opposed
I
to
mean,
using things as
when
dab
worse
tools.
I've used
comes to worse,
the fucking tip of a pen cap.
I mean, I've
Right.
used the
Yeah,
end of a
there's a question.
screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver. Let's see. I'm like, what else have I used?
Toothpick. I've used a toothpick.
Obviously, a toothpick,
So why
a
do we?
pen, the ripped off the
You
end
know,
of a pen.
guys
where
know-
the black
you
You
pen
all
ripples
should have
out.
a stem laying around. It's organic,
There
guys.
you
It's
go.
organic.
There you
You guys are all giving good examples of why that shit's not needed. We already have all these things laying around that would work.
Yeah.
Why encourage more fucking garbage?
Well,
Hey, Debbie Downer, I'm muting you for that.
I think I'm serious. I just came
yes.
out.
He thought I was kidding. I muted him.
I just threw out the last show.
I
talking
can't.
about
I
it.
cannot. Stainless steel. I mean, I guess that's like one thing. I can't get behind. I think on one of your shows recently, Figuroli, the Variable show, there was somebody talking about how they had something in a puffy jacket. Like that was the marketing for it. Not on your show, but like in your chat.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was somebody talking about
Like the packaging had, like, yeah.
like
I think I know what you're talking about.
the cannabis was in the Mylar bag, and that was zipped up in an actual like North Face puff jacket, and that could unzip, and it was like a functioning, just shrunk down jacket.
They're doing everything
Why
they
are you
can to
paying
sell the
for that?
garbage inside of your sweet packaging. That's the problem. Yeah.
Why are you paying for that? What the fuck? Do you know how much cheaper I could get this if I didn't have to fucking pay for all of the
It's a collectible, and rather than buying a $70 North Face jacket, I'll buy a $70 koozie.
Well,
I
wait,
think
you're supposed to
especially in
get a
You know what it
toy.
is? The koozie for like a can?
You're supposed to get a
That's
toy and it's
crazy.
supposed to smell
Well-
like Jolly Ranchers.
I think in like Ohio, mostly they're giving out these little things because it's the thought process that people aren't really like, this isn't like their norm. This is like their first time picking it up kind of thing, you know.
They should be getting
Like,
bud.
You know, here's another thing. When I
Is that my
bought
first
this,
pipe? What the fuck?
when I bought this 1 gram only is allowed to last me 2 days. I looked at them and I said, "Are you fucking kidding me that I can't come back tomorrow and get another gram?" They're like, "No." I was like,
What
"Fuck
the
you all."
fuck?
That's fucked.
Wait, they
I was
live
like, "Give me my 28
Yeah.
grams." for my
Oh,
gram,
speaking of you,
please."
man.
Yeah, I wonder how we know
Oh.
you're from Michigan, Red.
Yikes.
It's from Mich- we're not in the Ann Arbor area.
You just say the farmers market.
we were talking about the 2016 experience of someone seeing a Michigan bucket and basically calling him out for being in Ann Arbor or from Ann Arbor or something, or from Michigan maybe, and we just decided it was a 3-letter agency that was camped out next to him.
That person claimed to be from Michigan was the weird shit. That was the weird shit. Was that they claimed to be from like Sterling Heights or something like that, or Huron. And then
Did you ask them to point it out? Could they do that for
well,
you?
Yeah, there you
he was like talking about growing like a lot, like almost like a lot, like almost like
conspicuously
we were
enough.
sitting here having our round table, you know what I mean? And so I was like, all right, interesting. You're talking about growing a lot, but you know, it's like kind of sharing some. Didn't really want to tell him that I had all, you know, the cannabis. Allegedly, there might have been cannabis in supply. Music festival guys, you know what I mean? Doing groundwork.
Yeah, we already established fucking
The statue.
the statute of limitations, so we're good.
Yeah. Groundwork as it was.
It's not alleged. He made it work,
Allegedly.
damn it. And he's fucking proud of it, okay?
Well, okay. I was selling pendants. There. I
Fuck
told you
yeah.
I was selling pendants.
You You backpacker. What the fuck?
Not to get off subject, sorry, but I do have kind of a question that someone that I work with asked that is kind of their thought process on making like this tea for their outside plant, and I'm just want to throw it out there just because I said I'd ask for them. They were thinking about doing brown sugar and baking soda, that they had read somewhere that that was good for the roots, and I myself have not heard of that at all. So that's why I wanted to see what everyone thought, if they'd ever heard of anything like this. Or I'm in my thinking as a baker, I'm thinking the baking soda is not a good idea.
Are they talking about spraying this on their plants or just watering it in their plants?
It's no, he talked about watering it for his roots, that he'd read that it was good for the roots.
It depends on, I guess, how acidic his soil is if he's trying to neutralize that.
Because that baking soda is going to adjust the pH.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this is one of those things that somebody does in their garden and it works for them based on their very specific soil type and a lot
I
of
would
things.
probably say that the soil's not been tested, just guessing there. So maybe,
Most soils tend to be on the basic side, which means high, 7, 8. And so adding baking soda tends to bring it up. So it kind of exacerbates the problem.
So this is a technique for people who live up in the pine forests.
Yeah, they have acidic soil.
Exactly. So this is the technique that the people up in the pine forest have been using for the millennia, and it's the old grandma's technique, whose grandma's technique used to use sodium bicarbonate back in the day, and I'm sure it works fine. And unless you're using baking soda that has flavors, crap in it, right? Some garbage in it. That's
I wouldn't be too worried about it being like
this or some bullshit. But baking soda is basically just that. It's sodium bicarbonate. And then what was it? You said brown sugar.
Where do you get that from?
And they're putting this in a
I
tea.
don't know. I don't know.
What do you grind down?
He read it or YouTubed it somewhere. He texted me earlier and he's like, "What do you think of this?" And I was like,
Well, the sugars,
the baking soda.
the sugar's a food source for everything.
I'm not a fan of the sugars either, because sugars are going to bloom your microbes. So even if you have good microbes, which we'll
I don't know. I mean, my thought
How many
is
bugs is it going to bring?
whenever you put baking soda and stuff, it bubbles up and expands. And why do you want that on your roots? I don't know. Is what I was kicking around in my head. So that's why I don't know. I just wanted to see what you guys had to think. I
would avoid it myself, just because
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I would too. I think.
I don't like adding sugar to my soil like that. It just blooms your microbes. That means they eat that food. They and they bloom up, and then their population's so high they can't sustain themselves, and they die. And it's kind of like I'm not a huge fan of that.
I don't know. You know me. I'm always still of the mind that I mean, not that teas are bad or anything like that. I've done them myself, but I don't know. It's simpler the better. Especially outside. Let it do what it's gonna do out there.
If you want to work with microbes, the simple thing is just have a compost pile, even a worm bag,
definitely
compost pile, and then just fucking top dress that and water it in, and boom, there's your microbes.
Speaking of a compost pile, this was kind of so gross, but recently my ex came and cleaned the gutters out and threw all the stuff out of the gutters to the bottom, and I was cleaning out all the weeds and stuff around my rose bushes, and it was really piled up from the bottom of the gutter stuff. But all in that gutter, there was all these worms and all these little good things. And I was just like, come here. I'm going to scoop you, put you around my roses.
There you go. All that stuff is that fucking...
It looked so good. I was like, I can't get rid of you. I was like, scoop, scoop, scoop.
Hey, speaking of finding things to scoop, I got a little story for you. So I was at my father's hunting property recently, and he's... had these contractors building a garage, I guess, and one of the contractors was working on the siding, trying to wrap things up recently, and this is the other day. I don't know why I said recently, but a couple days ago, and he asked my dad. He's like, "Hey, you know, mind if I just go take a piss out back? It's just fucking woods." So he's like, "Yeah, just wherever, you know." And so he takes like 10 steps and turns around and goes, "Hey, you know, you got a morel back here, right?" And my dad's like, "Huh?" And my dad's like, he knows how to cook. He knows what mushrooms are. Like, he knows how to use them and all that stuff. But like, I don't think he's ever gone like mushroom hunting. You know, it's just like he didn't grow up in that generation or something. Like, he was growing weed on the fucking railroad tracks. He was in that generation. So, in any case, he goes back there and this guy shows him and he grabs it and comes and brings it in and shows me, and I'm like, well, sweet. Google, how do we find more of these? You know what I mean? Because I've never gone mushroom hunting either, right? I had some friends that did it back in college. I was just out there doing drugs in the woods, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what you guys are actually doing, so I'm just gonna hang out here. You know, you guys have fun doing that. But I don't know, maybe they're actually mushroom hunting. I have no idea. But in any case, I'm going to show you this picture. This is the first one he found. This is the one that the contractor found.
Cool.
And so I'm like, all right, Google, it's like, look in the immediate vicinity, well-drained but moist areas, fallen hardwood. And sure enough, like 10 feet from this thing is a tree that had fallen. And right along that tree line, I went and found 7 more morels.
Dude, nice.
And I think we found a total of 8, and I left one of them because it was pretty small, and I figured maybe it will repopulate or something when I come back in like a week or two. But I have since looked for mushrooms 2 times since then, because I'm kind of like, this is awesome, because we immediately cooked them up. We fried them up just in the pan with some butter, had like 2 of them, and then we're like, why are we waiting? Let's just cook up the rest of them, and had them with our lunch. It was fantastic.
Hell yeah. Okay, so I just tried going, I guess, mushroom hunting. We went to the park, and I was like, ooh, let's just look through where the trees are and stuff. And I didn't find anything. But that's awesome. That's like, I've always wanted to find them, so that's super cool. But I know that you're not supposed to harvest everything in one area, just be like respectful forager, basically, and leave some. So very nice on you for leaving, at least one of them there with it.
Well, and then here's the thing. On my own property today, I was chasing deer away because I'm like, they're eating my mushrooms. I'm going to go find mushrooms. Like I got to follow the deer. I know they're eating my mushrooms.
There's also special, like, use a mesh bag to carry your mushrooms in. That way the spores fall out of the bag.
Smart.
Smart.
Yeah, and another thing that people will do before they harvest a mushroom, sometimes they'll tap on the cap so that it'll drop some spores.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With the morel, flick it and let it, because the spores come out of all those little holes.
Well, how did it taste?
Extremely nutty. I was so impressed with that. So here's oh man, I gotta share another picture. I gotta upload because not 2 days after this, I was inspired by this to make something based on that flavor, and I'm not going to root it until I can actually upload this photo and share it with you. But yeah, they were extremely nutty. I not really earthy. I had read that some people think they're earthy, and I didn't get that flavor out of it really whatsoever. Nutty, not really. Maybe a little sweet, but very nutty and very rich.
When you were chewing
not
it,
what I was expecting.
Sweet texture, or was it like a creamy texture,
or was it like eating the nut's brain?
Ooh.
Was it? Oh,
it wasn't spongy like a raw mushroom. It wasn't. It wasn't even like a pizza mushroom. But it didn't like melt in my mouth either.
Like a brain, like a nutty brain.
Why would you say that? I want to try.
We sliced them because you can cook them whole, but we sliced them and like you would like a portobello or whatever.
I've never had a morel, but I've had a portobello, but not a morel.
I mean, this tasted nothing like anything I could ever really imagine a mushroom tasting like, but it did remind me of something, and that was pistachio encrusted lamb chops. So I made those like 2 days later.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks pretty good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they were pretty fucking tasty.
What you got
there?
Heck yeah. Mushrooms.
Okay, are these mushrooms you guys grew from those mushroom plugs that you did like 2 years ago or whatever?
He's muted.
I can't hear you. I'm not that good at lip reading. You need to
You
unmute.
unmuted, Red. Oh, he's full screen. He can't see my sign language.
I almost got there.
There we go.
These so we did inoculate a log with golden oysters,
Gotta keep them in.
but I never saw golden oysters on that log. Now these came from some other logs that my neighbor
Wow.
my neighbor was getting some trees chopped down, and I asked for all the wood chips from the arborists, and they gave me the logs, and I held on to the logs in a pile. And last year they threw a whole bunch of these, and I moved the logs under our pine tree. I thought that I tore up all the mycelium and they weren't going to fuck around for a while. And lo and behold, we got some rain and they let go, man. So I got some. There's a really nice specimen in here. Let me.
Oh,
that's
nice,
super
dude.
cool.
Pretty cool, huh?
There's one warning.
It looks like
Golden oysters.
Wow.
Yeah, look at the gills. Oh, it smells so good.
And what are you gonna do with that?
So earthy.
chomp.
Dude, there's a decent amount of mushroom meat in here. So last year we dehydrated some in the dehydrator, and they've been sitting in a jar ever since. And I'm not a huge fan of dehydrated mushrooms because you have to like soak them. You can put them in soup and stuff, but they retain this hard. They don't get soft when you cook them. You know what I mean?
Is that when you grind them though to like put like mushroom like?
You could
caps?
grind them. Grinding them would actually be way better. You know, you're not going to get. I don't know. There's a texture thing that I like about mushrooms. Also, it's like biting into like you actually get some like juice out, like some meat and juice out of it.
I don't like that about them.
It's a seasoning thing. You know, it's more or less a vehicle for salt and pepper or whatever, or salt and thyme or rosemary or whatever it is, right?
You're not used to eating them. Like you don't eat them a lot already, and you just eat a bunch. It's gonna play hell on your guts.
Really?
Yeah. That's like
I don't need any of that.
you have to get used to. Well, even magic mushrooms and.
Well, I knew
Classic.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's-
know that one.
But isn't that because of the
It's
phyto?
No, it's not because it's psilocybin. It's because,
Oh.
like,
So any kind of mushroom is going to give you yucky belly.
yeah,
Ugh.
mostly. Like if you eat a lot of them. Now, some not like
My
the
belly's been telling me no for a long time then.
There you go. Well, you got to get the belly to start being able to break them down, get some probiotics in there.
Ugh.
Definitely gives me the gas, even on pizza.
Oh my God, really?
Really
Yeah.
messes with my stomach.
It's because a lot of those mushrooms are so tough and it's hard for our body to really break them down.
What's interesting about the golden oyster is that it's a cultivated variety. So it being in the wild like that means that it got out there because somebody in the neighborhood
Tried to grow it and failed, and then threw away their mycelium block too early, and then they went and threw it out in the compost pile. Now that inoculated the outdoors.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting is I did inoculate some logs last year.
Okay, so maybe they passed some spores out there then.
It's possible. It's possible that it just from that. It's possible some survived on that log, but I didn't see anything on those logs. But I don't know. Maybe there was something. So I've got a handful of very large logs, and they have like these really cool white pockets on them where they were on the ground. The logs were on a pile of wood chips. So as I pulled the logs away, there was this just mat of mycelium into the wood chips, and I mean just this like massive, huge boulder of mycelium, and it smelled so good, man. And it was just all this like I really wish that I would have had some fresh wood chips to have been able to like inoculate it and just spread it all over my entire garden. All my wood chips are years old. They're just it wouldn't have worked, they're too.
What'd you do with that wood? Those wood logs?
I bordered our pine tree in the back in a nice shaded area, and that's where this flush came from. After I moved those logs, they flushed again. So this is already the second flush this year, and they're about 2 weeks apart. So I'm hoping I'll get another flush in a couple weeks, and hoping to be able to take these to the farmers market, to be honest, because they're pumping out a lot of them. So
If they ever stop producing, I'd take those logs and throw them into a Hugo bed. That'd be fucking awesome for that.
Yeah, big time. bury them suckers, put them at the bottom of our compost pile or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm loving watching nature go to town this time of year. It's crazy. I'm cutting the grass like twice a week. It's growing so fast, but like
You're cutting the grass every other day.
I'm finally managing. Yeah.
I harvest my grass, thank you, and I use it for mulch.
Well, yeah. So I'm trying to like right now. There's two things. There's weed pressure is the dandelions, and they're going to seed every single day right now.
That's not a weed. Thank you very much.
And I have this half of the yard has the dandelion pressure, so I mow that down, and then I take those clippings and
Go out there and clip the greens, man, and sell them at the farmers market.
I feed them to the chickens because this way I don't have to worry about the bitterness of the greens.
Yeah, but those hippies out there will pay for that shit, man.
We've got nice dandelions elsewhere in the garden that are
He's got.
yard dandelions
Yeah, we don't want the Reuben peed
that the
on.
dog pisses on.
And I would.
Yeah, that's high nitrogen, man. That's some good fertilizer.
Dude, I made dandelion honey.
But we'll sell them to you.
No, I got plenty. I got my own supply. Thank you.
But not high in nitrogen.
Maybe not high.
Oh no, they're definitely high in nitrogen. 3 different nitrogen adders.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have 3 reactors.
Yeah, yeah. I go out and I pee in my yard every night.
No, I collected dandelions and I tried to make some dandelion honey.
You made honey. You made.
Well, I turned it. I made dandelion honey, but then I added gelatin to it to try to make gummies. But it turned out to be more like Jell-O, and I don't eat Jell-O,
I did.
so
Stuff
he
like
did. But that turned out okay. I tried to make ginger and dandelion.
It was like honey flavored Jello.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about this recently. I can use my hydrocarbon process to extract lavender oil. I wonder if I can do the same with dandelions.
Dandelion oil.
I don't know that it's an oil.
Yeah.
No.
I have no idea. I mean, I wouldn't think a lavender plant was an oil either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you touched the leaves and you felt the stickiness, haven't you?
On dandelions or lavender or both? Because I would say both.
I'd say more lavender, but
Maybe more so. But there's, I mean, I definitely get like,
Wait, what are you trying to pull out of the dandelion?
I don't know. I'm just wondering what I can extract out of it with the hydrocarbon process.
You probably get that milk out of it.
The dandelion is special because of the minerals it pulls up because of its big long taproot.
It's got a sap.
So it's really powerful for us to consume more in a compost pile, just to add all those minerals and micronutrients.
Harvesting the dandelion root.
That's why we
is
give them to our
at the
chicken.
end of the season, because then it has
Sugars
all
instead of
season long to
starches.
be pulling up. It's less bitter then.
Yeah, a lot of your roots are better in the late season because their starches turn to sugars.
So I haven't tried dandelion tea yet, or
Ooh, I haven't
dandelion
tried that
coffee because I'm waiting for those roots.
Is anybody well, I guess pretty much all you women can speak to this. Raspberry leaf tea. Anybody ever tried that?
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
raspberry leaf.
I have. I'm not a fan of it myself. I'm kind of picky with raspberry stuff. I don't like it when
Okay.
it's really overpowering. I need it on the lighter side of it. But yeah, I have. What about you,
Yeah.
Emily? You?
Have you ever taken a raspberry leaf and just eaten it then?
No, I
I
haven't.
got a lot
I actually don't think
Really?
I have.
from sage tea and ginger tea, of course.
Oh, I love ginger. Oh, ginger tea. Goodness.
Our raspberry plant is massive.
the red raspberry specifically is good for like end of pregnancy, and I think it like get to your
Yeah,
body.
labor inducing. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking.
I saved a bunch last summer and dried it, and I made like a batch like once a week, but I wasn't,
yeah.
doing it every day like I probably should have. Would have.
Unfortunately, our raspberry plants don't have a whole lot of leaf material on them right now, but
No, they got a little bit longer to come on for.
mhm.
Ours are just now like raspberries, the grapes. They're all just starting to green. Getting green. The blueberries. Nothing really. We've got apples starting to come on.
Our raspberries have gone out about 15 feet from where I had initially put them so far.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
even a little bit more.
My raspberries are about this tall.
I'm waiting for blackberries in the backyard. That's my
Yeah, me
Elderberry.
Our raspberries are like 5-foot bushes.
too. You got to trim them back, dude.
I've got
fight
I've
the
got an
deer for
elderberry
in the
that
back.
I've got elderberry this
You're
year.
Right, dude. I got
Competition.
flowers
Elderberry
already
is-
on those things.
8 foot. It's taller than you.
We've got a wild raspberry bush that is loaded with flowers. We have strawberries already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my strawberries have already come and
Loaded
gone.
with strawberries already. And we have
I actually
blueberries.
use strawberries to make the cakes over the weekend for my grandson's birthday.
Nice. Ones you grew?
I'm sorry.
Strawberries you grew, you said?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Not all
That's
of
awesome.
them. I got about a quart out of the backyard because the dogs have been eating the heck out of them.
Yeah, I think our cherries already got scooped. Like I swear we had. I don't know. I actually never saw the cherries on the tree, but I saw all the blooms,
Oh wow.
and now I don't see anything on the tree. And I'm like, oh, what the?
That's
Come on, man! Every year.
Yeah, cherry tree would be cool.
I think it's gonna be a big fruit year.
Yes.
Our pear tree is already loaded up, and it's a very small pear tree. And every branch tip has like a half a dozen pears fruiting on the tips of it. And then
Don't be afraid to support the branches.
our grapevine finally is flowering. It looks like,
Concord.
and it has
No shit.
a ton of clusters on it, and so
Nice.
Little tiny grapes. I never seen.
they're all
Big
They're all
grapes.
little flowers right now. And they're ready to pollinate, and they're going to be
That's awesome.
grape clusters. Well, it's super great that it's on a fence trellis right now that we're trying to tear out and redo and add a new fence trellis. So I was trying to save this fence. I'm going to have to like cut it into a bunch of little pieces to try to cut out the grapevine that I'm trying to conserve and not destroy, because it's actually, I'm like, oh, I'll just cut back the grapevine. No, not now that it has like 40 clusters of grapes that are going to be fucking delicious and we can take to the market. So
We're gonna take those to the market. I think we should make jelly
or wine.
or wine.
Ooh, how long does that process take? Wine.
I don't know. This is a 2023 wine, so less than 3 years.
Well, that's
I think
the aging process. I mean, I don't know how long you're supposed to age it.
You ferment kombucha for 7 to 14 days for the first ferment, and then another 3 to 7 for the second ferment, and that's when it adds the flavor from the juice that you do. So I think that you could do
Couple weeks.
wine within a season, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it's a process.
I think
A few
I
years
feel like
long.
beer took me like a month. It's been a long time since I made a friggin' batch of beer, but I think that took like a month, right?
It might depend on the sugar content of the grapes.
Ooh, good point. Yeah.
I had like year
I do.
ferments. Remember those
Of
drinks
what?
we
Like the
drank at the
peppers?
Yellow Moon Yurt?
Are you talking about the mead?
Yeah.
Meads? Meads you ferment, I think, for an extra long amount of time. Is it longer?
It was like a year. It was from the year
Is it
prior.
longer though?
I think is just first it make vinegar and then it makes alcohol.
It
alcohol.
makes vinegar. Well, I think there's two separate byproducts that get separated and then distilled. I think you get vinegar first and then alcohol.
We don't know.
I think the nasty smell first is the vinegar. Then you get alcohol. But so comparing, definitely not an alcohol channel, right? Not comparing cannabis to alcohol and not promoting alcohol. But fermentation is a very huge part of life and farming. You know, nothing wrong with a wine or a cider or a mead. Or
In cannabis, I think that's called a long cure.
Sure.
Like, you know,
They have fermented cannabis too. It's called the Cobb method, COBB.
You're talking about where it's like wrapped in like
buried underground, so it's out of oxygen.
buried or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, the fermented flour.
that's another ferment.
Emily, did you say long cure? Yeah, I think so. Supreme Grape says vinegar first. We'll go with that, and I mean that's like the process. Like
I don't know, guys. I don't think that's for me.
that's some
Well, you haven't smoked it yet, man.
wild stuff.
Malawi.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
It'd be really smooth.
Looks like meat.
It looks like hash almost.
Yeah, it looks like finger hash that's just got some extra
looks like
hair on it.
brickweed to me.
Is
It's
it?
got-
Oh, like really close up. Yeah, like the stuff from trimming on your fingers.
Is it like pressed? Is it like in a paper?
Ew.
Yeah, like a parchment or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's a craft right there.
Yeah, right. Is that beef jerky?
What is that with it?
It's a sausage.
It looks like a pepper skin.
That's in the wrap. That's out of the wrap.
Oh, okay. Is it like a tamale for cannabis?
Kind of.
It's very much like a
It's
tamale.
a tamale.
Huh.
1 to 2 ounces of your best buds, huh?
And wrap them in husk.
You want them at 68%?
Yeah, you moisten the husk with water.
Well, remember, guys, anything above 60% promotes pathogens.
Fermentation.
Now,
There
I
you go.
know somebody, I want to say, I might be wrong, but I think it was Denial and Error. Had tried a long, like one of those sweating processes where it was like put in the ground and then they grabbed it to try to like replicate how they would store weed or not, I guess, hash for a long time. I'm really bad at this part of it because I don't know all the terms for it, so it's hard to.
Yeah, I don't-
But it was something about, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was Rascal Farmer. I'm trying to think of who it was, but they tried to do one of those long cures where it was like they put it away for more than 6 months and kept it at a certain temperature, which is why in whatever country, you know, this technique is from, they would like bury it in the ground or in the sand because it would retain the heat from it. And then that would,
Genetic Memory Farm did this in like a pressure cooker or something. Simulated
Okay.
it without. I think is how he told me he did it. Usually he's in chat. He's not in there now, but it'd be cool if he showed up and told us about how it went for him. But this makes it supposed to be really smooth because it breaks down like chlorophyll.
I'm gonna do my best impersonation of Spartan Grown and go, I'm just gonna dry my weed and smoke it. I'm not doing any extra bullshit like that.
I like that. I like it a lot.
I like that a lot.
But with 2 ounces to fuck around with.
That's what I'm saying. That's 2 ounces to fuck around with. That's a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Of your best choice.
Your best.
Less
Your
buds.
best choice.
You don't even smoke our best.
I smoke what I consider is the best. Well, I smoke,
Top, what's considered the best?
no, I smoke the bottoms. It's generally not the best, but it's the best that I can get.
Best you can afford, right?
Word. Give the best to everyone else.
Noob says the best impression. I was expecting a beard fire.
How was all the
nice,
new
nice.
strains this weekend at Third Eye? I saw that you brought some new ones with you. How did the response go?
Are you talking to me or for Growly Terra? I'm sorry.
No, you sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I saw the Durban. Let's see, the Durban Margie. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember them all. The Durban Margie is the one that stood out to me that I really wanted to try. Big Jar told me he was smoking on some earlier when I talked to him. So
I absolutely love it. It
Okay.
reminds me of an old sour.
Okay. All right.
It's got that little bit of a Durban spice, and it kind of has just this like lime and pine.
Okay.
It's really nice. it's heady and uplifting, but not like anxious. You know, you grow it like it's a big plant. It's a nice plant.
Yeah, I
Um,
was curious about the anxious
pretty
part of it.
sweet.
You know, I figured it was probably a little on the uppity side. So, but I'm really curious. It sounds yummy.
Well, like the citrique, it kind of has that like
Okay.
that limonene where it's
Love me some citrus.
yeah, it's a lot more on that lime side. And I got the Tahiti lime too,
That was the other one I saw.
which is a lot more like the lemon dozy, and they're a lot more like a lemon profile. It's
Okay.
different than this like crisp. The way I get it, it's almost like the difference between like limes in a basement, kind of musky, almost got this like musky like basementy types.
Basement lime?
Yeah, like almost like this like musky like
Like at a bar?
maybe a bar in a basement that has like a cobblestone walls, you know, specifically cobblestone walls, maybe a cave.
You're making up this location.
No, a bar in a cave, like wet walls. Wet stone
Like
walls.
Michigan basement wet walls.
Michigan basement wet stone walls. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got that, and then
Alright.
it's but you stepped on a lime.
Like an old lime.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like fermented limes. In the lemon dozy is a bit more lemon. Tahiti lime's a bit more lime, but not like the lime skunk citrique / Durban Margie lime. That's much more like a margarita lime.
I think I got some flower pieces in this one.
What's a margarita lime?
Oh, it's like more
Very sweet.
like lime sour, lime sweet and sour.
Oh,
mix.
sweet and sour. Okay.
You know, like a sweet sour.
So
It's-
specific.
Well, margarita mix has sweet and sour mix in it. And,
It's like there's a
sugar.
sharpness to it.
well, that's what I mean. Like the citrique and the Durban hit me on the top of the palette of smells, whereas those other limes and lemons hit me more on the lower end of the smells in the lip area, where the other one's the forehead area. If I could put it to a direction of
Physiology.
yeah, physical sense of where I take it in at.
Where else do you take it in at, Red?
Sometimes in the ear hole, sometimes in the a hole. Okay. Hey man, all right.
You said it.
You know, it's just what it is. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to stay muted over here.
Tell us more. You're not now though.
So since we're talking about terps, everybody we know
Ooh,
how
I
I
said
said
Sarah
a-hole. You
loves-
didn't say asshole. What are you guys
you
talking
know how I
about?
love the orange terps. I'm just such a fan of it. One of my rooms at work is like 70 to 80% all orange terps. I literally walk in and I'm like, oh, I can't stand this room at all, and I hate to even say
Well, that's
that.
kind of what I mean about the lemon. The lemon
Mm.
reminds me of the orange terp thing, and the orange terp thing is the thing that has that like muskiness that's like the wet wall basement thing, right?
Yeah, I
You know what I'm
like
talking
sweet
about?
orange, but this
Yeah, like the
orange is
sweeter
just
stuff.
like
Right,
offensive.
right. So I don't know, but the Tahiti lime is I think louder, like has a sharper smell than the lemon dozy, and it's kind of a bigger plant, and it actually
And more dense than lemon dozy.
I weighed out an ounce and I was like, damn, I really wish I had this guy with me. You can't see it. You can't see it. I really wish I had this guy with me, because I was like, is there 2? Is there 3? Is there 4 ounces in this bowl that I'm weighing out for this person? But it seemed to be the nugs were like this big, and there was like 8, 10 of them in there, and I was like, what
Oh,
the
yeah.
fuck? But it all fit in the bag. It fit in the bag, right? These limes, these giant bud limes, they just do that, you know. But what's nice is the buds are that big, and you crack them open, and there's no mold.
Well, heck yeah, that's
Excuse me.
phenomenal.
That's what's nice about those.
Yeah.
I've been having some issues where I've been having to throw away some tops because
Terry, you have a question in chat. It asked, and I already know the answer to this. Do you like trop cherries?
She loves it. That's her favorite thing in the world.
Sorry, Ned. I do not like trop cherry by itself, I should say, but we have a cherry paloma that was gifted to us from Blue Kiss that from JR Token, Raw Genetics, that I do love, but it's after about a month or two of curing when like the Georgia pie takes over again and there's no more trop cherry that's that strong. But yeah, I don't care for the trop cherry. I've even had a trop cherry that was crossed with runts, and I love runts, but the runts wasn't enough to like overpower that trop cherry. There's a sharpness about it that I just
Trop cherry flour.
yeah, just that,
mixed
and it
with
makes me
Mac 1
anxious.
flour.
Like
That's the
you know,
joint.
like trop cookies makes me anxious. Ugh.
That's right. That's why I said you got to mix it. I did a Mac 1. You grind a little bit of that up, then grind some flour of trop cherry, and you mix them together. And you make a joint of that, and that is fucking the best joint I've ever smoked.
Oh, I bet it's
is
very.
that like taking the lime and the coconut and mixing them together?
There
Yeah,
you go. Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to mix it all in one strain, just get those 2 strains, grind them up, mix them together.
I'm looking for coconut terps. That's got to be out there somewhere.
I'm
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm with you with that one. Take that one to the Durban Margie. Yes, please.
That would be very, very unique.
What you got in that tree?
It's a cherry paloma.
Yeah, it's
Paloma.
good.
Cherry.
Oh,
you dropped it.
Oh,
What are
no.
you doing?
Lost it.
She's delicate. Be sweet to her.
What did you
Yeah.
do?
it's a really nice yielder. They've got nice buds. It's a really, and you know, that's the thing. I did not like this plant at all. I literally was going to kick it after the first go of it, but everybody else loves it, and it's kind of grown on me. Like I said, I will not smoke. I will smoke it, but I'll only hit it maybe like 2 or 3 times. Like the other night, my daughter rolled one up, and I was like, "Is this the cherry paloma?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Cause I'm not gonna hit this that much." She's like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm a little picky."
Tara, one of these days, I hope to repeat that same sentence.
Which
My daughter rolled one up.
Oh, you know,
Damn straight.
you know, she's not been my one that my
Old
son
man.
was the one that really started smoking with me first. He got me dabbing. But then Carly has kind of come around herself, and she's kind of done this like started with the carts and has slowly moved off of carts, and now that I have flour around, she's like, "Oh, I'm all about this flour, mom." And so yeah, she's even bought herself a little rig that she smokes her flower out of in her room, and I love it, you know, because it's really, you know, I'd rather see her do that than be drinking or doing other drugs. So I'm happy to see this.
Yeah.
And I will encourage it all day long.
True.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little cannabis,
I
whatever.
don't even care if it's
Whatever.
a lot of cannabis.
Whatever
So, you know,
Yeah, man. You know, it's
yeah, she's dabbed with me a few times. I think it's a little much for her, you know, just because she's, you know, a newer smoker kind of thing. But she likes the cherry paloma, especially. She really likes the GG4, loves the motor breath. She thinks the GMO stinks. But we'll smoke it. But she's like, that fucks me up. So, you know, it's nice to see how
That's
she
me.
like determines, you know, the ones that I do have.
Tara, you don't have to tell her age, but north of 25 years old or less than 25.
No, I don't mind to tell, and she won't either. She's getting ready to turn 24 in a couple months. So, yeah, and my son just turned 29. So, it's funny, you know, to see his progression of like what he's done and not done, and how he doesn't do anything at all, and it's funny.
You know, cannabis does a lot, man. Becca and I were talking about. We have this conversation a lot
He
because
still uses the Fergoli rub.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the Fragoli rub, right?
Yeah.
I have like 3 with broken. Look at the broken tops. Fragoli, do you have like 6 little tops I can get off you because I got a bunch.
I actually got I got you.
I actually have some though. For this. Now that I think about it,
Because you're clumsy.
I've dropped a couple of them.
I do the same thing.
And but dude, I'm gonna claim it's cured my shoulder. Whatever the fuck was going on with it. I've had a chronic shoulder like torn muscle pain issue. Obviously I don't know what it is because the doctor has not been involved. But since like September, I haven't been able to sleep sound. I've actually been getting up, I don't know, every half hour.
It's called being a father, Red.
It's called being 40.
No,
I
this
know
is
all
well,
of that.
actually,
I know. I'm 40. I'm a father. I get it. Yeah. But no, this is while Becca was pregnant. And I was like, I'm having sympathy pains here. What's going on? She can't sleep because she can only sleep on her side. I can't sleep because I can only sleep on my side. So here's the deal, right? I'm like kind of a stomach sleeper. And for some reason, both of my shoulders won't let me sleep on my stomach. Like, it's really rough. I can get about an hour or 2 of like, I'm tired, so I'm sleeping, but throughout the rest of the night, it's restless because I'm hugging my pillow, trying to elevate, trying to do all of these things.
What about in a hammock? Can you sleep in a hammock?
I can sleep on I'm like on my back, I'm fine, but once I'm in bed, if I'm on my back, my like, I don't know,
can't breathe, yeah.
You can't, yeah, you know, so I gotta like roll over and it's just easier for me to breathe.
Sure.
It's probably from smoking, I'm sure, and all of that and whatever. But anyways, we've just been talking about just cannabis, you know what I mean? And like a lot of people that we know that use cannabis holistically. Like, we know a lot of people with cancer that use cannabis holistically. We know a lot of people using it just conjunction with their treatments. A lot of people that are using it, you know, as a treatment. A lot of people just using it proactively. It's still so taboo amongst sick people also, you know, and it can be hard to get somebody to kind of adopt, and it does, like,
especially the older generation.
And the topicals can really be that gateway drug, you know, to cannabis, which is a great thing. How do you really get the conversation though of prophylactic medicine, preventative medicine? How do you really get somebody to understand? Because most people, and I mean educated people, because in Becca's family has a lot of doctors and people in medicine and things like that just their thoughts of cannabis as a medicine is that because its mechanism is that it gets you high, the being high is the mechanism of relief, not the endocannabinoid triggers on the CB1, CB2 receptors, not the prophylactic response, not the anti-inflammatory. It's getting high, quote unquote, high is the mechanism. How do you alter even a professional in medicine to understand that cannabis has these components to it, which are in preventative health, not reactive health? It's not I feel like shit, so I need to get high. It's I get high so I don't feel like shit. You know what I mean? Like, even in mental health, for me as somebody, I smoke a lot of times because I'm a reactive person. Call it whatever life experiences have caused me to become reactive to things. That's how I am. But when I smoke, I become far less reactive to things and far more able to manage my emotions, my composure, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And that's just one mood mechanism of it, right? That's just a small mood that's not even a physiological actual anti-inflammatory mechanism of it. That's not a it helps your hair grow stronger mechanism, you know what I mean, because it's triggering these CB2 receptor skin cells and doing these things. Like, it's more than you're getting high, right? It's a whole endocannabinoid. Like, you need a pamphlet with all of these things, but how do you say it in like a quick 4 seconds? Not
You don't.
bashing.
So-
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, because I've had experience with this, and I know the generation or generations you're talking about, because our generation doesn't have to deal
Well,
with
they're our age is the problem. They're medical professionals that are.
I know. And
Millennials.
this bleeds down into what the groups you're talking about. It's, if we're just talking patients, though, I experience this a lot with the older generations, being our parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles. I've dealt a lot with this. I've been doing this for a long time, and I keep telling everybody I know this is the most medicinal valuable thing I have, because it, well, stands for Becca down there. I'm sorry, but I haven't had anybody tell me that it's gotten them high before, other than Becca. Sorry about that. I've gotten full body deep tissue massages with it probably a half dozen times and walked out of there fine. Maybe it's a tolerance thing, just like the mushrooms or whatever, but you're right, Caveman. It falls on deaf ears, because these people have grown up in it's almost like a societal cultural thing in which they need an authority figure to tell them that it's okay. I've experienced this over and over again with people like my grandma, who's I've told this story before, but whose own oncologist, I tried for years to get her to try cannabis for medicinal reasons, not smoking it, but using a topical or some other form, maybe an edible or something like that, low dose, right? Just to see if it would help her, right? And she told me no over and over again. She grew up, very religious and, devil's lettuce and all that, right? So it's like an impossible task, uphill battle. And I really thought it was impossible until less than 2 weeks before she passed, her oncologist decided to tell her that maybe she should try cannabis. And because they're only recommending it for end of life. Yeah, care, to be comfortable, right? And that's a problem, because we've talked about how even recreational use is medicinal use, right? There's a medicinal benefit whether or not you're using it as such. And
which is like, so crazy. What the fuck can you say that about anything else?
Yeah, there's not. I mean, maybe about mushrooms, right? Like, there's probably something.
I would
some other things
say,
too.
I would push back. I agree with you, but I would push back a little bit and say it's still up to the patient or their family, whoever their caretaker is to fucking educate yourself in this day and age.
Right.
Educate yourself, and you can go, if you're not in a state that's legal, you can go to probably a neighboring state where it's legal and medicate yourself.
I've tried that route too. I've tried educating people about this, sitting them down and explaining it to them. And I've had people, including in my own family, say, "Oh, what do you think? This is a miracle drug? It's healing all these things you're listing off." And it's like, this isn't me saying it. These are people that have come to me telling me this is how it's helping them.
On top of that, but then on top of that, what you do is you say, and then here's a white paper. Here's a link to this white paper.
But buddy, they don't give a shit unless it's someone they know and they trust and they see as an authority figure. They're not gonna fucking care about some white paper on the internet. I could write a fucking white paper.
What about 1,000 white papers on the internet?
Did you think they're gonna read 1,000 papers?
But I could say
we've been yelling from the rooftops, from the bud tenders up, about how education is the most important thing. Russ, I agree with you. That is a very important thing. But with the cases of the people like Red Center is talking about, education ain't going to cut through, man. They need someone, like an authority figure, to tell them it's okay, because they've grown up culturally, societally. Like I said, I was just not okay, man. It's a deep-seated thing.
The type of person that I'm talking about is the type of person that has like a doctorate, you know what I mean, and has, you know, basically given all of their trust to their institutional education. You know what I mean?
The institutional education with white papers that agree with my point. There's thousands of them out there.
I would say yes, but it's weird that they
I mean, at that point, then every doctor should just say, "Okay, I will prescribe cannabis willingly," because there's white papers out there that say that it.
But here's the thing:
how do you
if it was federally legal, if the federal government, Big Daddy up top, right? If the authority figures said that they could do that, I bet you they would fucking start doing that.
Probably.
And that's the big thing is like, man, can you imagine just like everybody going, wait, this does what? And I've been telling people no, and what? Like,
we could finally end this podcast. We would have no more work to do.
like the morale, like the whole telling people to not use cannabis if it could harm them is one thing, but telling people to not use cannabis when it could actually help them or save them, I think is absolutely criminal. And it's not just telling people to not use it, it's telling people that you're going to be put behind bars for, you know, if you add in some kind of commerce with this plant, you go, you know, it's like, it's crazy shit, dude, because it's not just that war on consciousness that Graham Hancock talks. Graham Hancock talks about it being just this war on consciousness. Terence McKenna talks about it being a war on consciousness. Like all these people talk about it, but it's so much more than that, because it's a war on us who it was made illegal not because of public safety and not because, you know, it's going around in cartels. It's not because it's a bad thing. It's not dangerous. It was made illegal because it was a threat to the petroleum industry and a threat to the oil and a threat to
ignorance, basically. And they taught ignorance in the schools and indoctrinated the entire populace.
Like it was a threat to like all of these big oligarchs in the early 1900s, and that's why it's illegal, and that's why, and because it's illegal, we have dead family members, and I think that that's super fucked up, man. Like my goal for life is to live, is to look for happiness living in grief, because I've lived through so much fucking grief because so many people die of cancer in my fucking life, dude. Everybody, I've never had a grandfather in my life, a living grandfather, because all of my grandfathers died of cancer before. One of them died. I had a grandfather die in an accident, but all of my grandfathers prior to that all died of cancer. And grandmothers, my mom had cancer a couple years ago. You know what I mean? My grandmother who died of dementia had cancer. My aunt had, everybody's got breast cancer in the family. You know what I mean? Cancer is fucking rampant, dude. When I was 12 years old, I lost my cousin who was 18 years old, fucking brain cancer. And I don't know how many other kids I've known with fucking brain cancer. Cancer's fucking just crazy. And cannabis seems to help it. And it's fucking crazy and asinine that it's criminal to fucking to handle the plant when it should be criminal to prevent handling the plant. It's just fucking ass backwards, dude. So like civil disobedience all the way, and everybody like battling this fucking hemp laws just to help exploit the fucking plant because, oh, I bought into a bad fucking state license and now these Wild Bills is selling THCA flower. Good. I'm glad Wild Bills is selling fucking THCA flower. I don't care how shit poor product it is. There's flower on the shelf of a fucking tobacco shop. Fucking rock on cannabis. Rock on the hemp bill. Fuck off the buying into a bad state law in the fucking first place. You bought into a bad business model. Good for Wild Bills. They have a good fucking business model. Don't be mad at fucking hemp. Be mad at fucking yourself for fucking buying into the state legislator who doesn't even know shit about THC and they're trying to fucking legislate percentage limits. Bullshit. That's fucked.
You know what's hilarious about him is he got, remember, he was one of the biggest denials early on. Wild Bills, owner of Wild
yeah.
Bills, tried to get in the cannabis game, and they denied him over some bullshit. You know what I mean? And he had like 5 fucking dispos ready to go or something. Like had all this money invested, and they're just like, nah, no, you're denied.
All the MSOs,
No recourse.
all the dispo. Well, the MSOs are getting into THC anyway. Anyway, they're getting into hemp anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But all like the small mom and pops are pissed off at the hemp industry because they're legal. Flower. Poppies are fucking legal. Poppy makes heroin. Poppies make heroin. Cannabis flower should be fucking legal, just like poppies are legal. Big fucking deal that we can grow weed and we can trade dry flowers. You can do dried flowers, poppies, even though the constituents inside of it is codeine and morphine, and you make heroin out of it. Okay, so cannabis is like poppies. Argument's over. Like they're bitching and whining, and dude, I listened to that fucking that one dude in Miggy, and they fucking bitch about hemp all the fucking time and the cannabis legalization network, and it's like, dude, you bought into a bad, like, you're trying to exploit cannabis, you're trying to exploit Mother Mary Jane. Get a candy store license. You don't have to jump through the red tape. You can sell fucking candy. That's all you're gonna do in your fucking dispensary anyway. You're not an apothecary. You're not selling medicine. You're selling oversupplied distillate wrapped up in a sugar gummy so it tastes fucking good, and it's fucking terrible for people. It's distillate. There's nothing else in it. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody's getting some relief, but they're also probably getting some fucking gut pain, and then now they feel like shit tomorrow. You know what I mean? So it's
distillate is just because of what it's combined with. Like,
no, it's because you're removing all the terpenes, you're removing most of the cannabinoids, you're leaving just about nothing but THC behind, and then that THC is just used to pump up lab numbers, and then create it's now become an ingredient, and the ingredient is THC rather than a plant.
Okay, well, I have a question then, because I got RSO tested recently, and I have the results, and I kind of want to show those to you guys and go over those. But it called it distillate for the RSO, and I wasn't sure if that was correct, if it was.
That's just their
correctly?
labeling.
Okay.
Is that just what they called it, or?
No, it's probably distillate.
Fill out anything when I dropped it.
Probably it's like what you got or what you made.
They're probably marketing it as RSO, but it's distillate. So
no, she made it. She said.
Oh, you made it, but it came back calling it distillate. I wouldn't worry about that.
That's just what the lab said. Fuck
that's
them.
the category.
They don't know your process.
You made it. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if that's just because
No.
it got ran wrong or.
No, distillate is.
Can you do me a favor, Russ, and shrink that window to be more square so it fits in here better? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I guess.
There you go. Hell yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going.
More.
Perfect. Right there. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Well, not all poppies produce opium. That's correct, but all poppies are legal to grow and trade, and so it doesn't. That's yeah. I mean, you have to have a sniffer in poppy regardless, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just like cannabis, right? I mean, you're talking about non-cannabinoid producing cannabis plants and cannabinoid producing cannabis plants. It doesn't matter either way. They're regulated or whatever.
It's a lot of CBD.
Yeah, so this is what I ran. I got CBD heavy from Living Euphoric, and it was a bunch of CBD, CBG strains. Ran those into RSO and then took that into be tested and see what it was testing at. And so I just thought it was pretty cool to look over the results of it. It has a few CBs that I wasn't familiar with before, like the CBL is one that I hadn't heard before. To see that they're testing for it. I kind of want to know more about that.
Well, here's the super interesting thing is that they recently discovered a new cannabinoid, naturally derived cannabinoid, recently.
Well, I think they discussed. Well, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what the letters were.
I don't either. But
like
what I'm getting at is that the profile is not complete, right?
CBD.
So how can we truly, regulate this thing without even understanding its profile on what we're regulating. What are the components that make it regulatable? You know what I mean? Or now they think it's
Tetrahydrocannabinol. That's
well,
about
that's what
it.
they think it is. They think it is. I'd love to find out that it's not even THC that makes it psychoactive. You know,
Right? It's like THCJ.
or whatever else. And yeah. Well, that's like, and here's the other argument is that you can get CB1 agonists from anything in nature. It generally yeast. Recently, they're using yeast, but I mean carbon. You know, things with heavy amounts of carbon. They use petroleum a lot. They use coal and petroleum because it's loaded with carbon, oil loaded with carbon, and they're able to take that and basically mimic THC. So, like, what does it matter if you want to like legislate hemp and all these other things? They're just going to make a CB1 agonist, call it spice, call it K2, call it what it was back in 2009, because that's exactly what those were. Those were CB1 agonists. They were legal. They were sold at gas stations, smoke shops, whatever, Wild Bills, all these other things. Specifically spice in K2, that molecule became legal. That doesn't mean that you can't recreate another CB1 agonist, because there's thousands of them and you can make thousands more, because all it is restructuring the carbon atom on what key fills the hole in the slot in the mechanism of the CB1 CB2 receptor. And they do it, and that's how they make thousands of different legal LSD analogs, MDA and MDMA analogs, and amphetamines. Like the amphetamine thing, like good luck ever legislating amphetamines. That's why they don't. That's why half Congress is snorting shit on the table. And it's probably not even cocaine. It's probably just legal amphetamines. You know what I mean? Like they're probably smarter than that. Like I don't know. It's chemistry is a wild thing, and they're not going to be able to legislate the consciousness. There's a Graham Hancock quote for sure. You can't legislate consciousness because you're going to have to criminalize yeast and oil and all of these other things before you can do any of that shit. So I don't know. It's a big circle jerk, man. It's a big like. It's a big
chasing nature,
big distraction. You're just trying to profit off of. You're trying to exploit nature and profit off all these things. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're being a big fucking Karen, and you're trying to legislate somebody else's. You're trying to legislate. You're trying to legislate somebody else's like. Trying to legislate nature because you have a bad business plan. That's what it is. Like you're doing exactly what the lobbyists in the 1940s did when cannabis was going to run the show. You're doing exactly what they did by trying to eliminate hemp and CBD. You're being the exact same lobbyists trying to eliminate hemp and CBD it's just ridiculous. You're trying to profit off of cannabis. You're trying to profit off the laws that don't even exist yet and create some kind of laws over something that I don't know, man. I'm gonna keep talking in circles so we can get off this topic now.
Well, I would like to share from Genetic Memory Farms. He brought up his experience with that Cobb method that he did. And he said the difference when I had it lab tested was a change in terpene profile, which I would expect. But it said no CBN or even much decarb, so the acid form stayed stable as far as product. He goes on and says, the experience, I would say I could notice the flavor difference, but the bigger difference was in how it smoked, dramatically smoother smoking and burning, but it seemed to also be very stable. I kept some of each and the fermented seemed store with a much softer, excuse me, or moist feeling texture, even though it wasn't, like pipe or cigar tobacco almost. I don't smoke anymore, just stick to my Volcano and Mighty Plus for flower. And I like the unfermented flower better for vaping, but that is not burning. Huh. For smoking joints, I much prefer fermented. Very interesting, the smart guy says.
Will he keep reading? That's yeah, I don't know shit about fermented cannabis, honestly. Like
Me either.
I come from the
tried to
exact
look it
opposite
up.
side of it, the fresh frozen side. So I don't know.
I tried looking up to see if I could find what I was talking about, and it looks like it's from a Frenchy cannoli technique, and you can long cure up to 12 years for the hashish or hashish.
Hashish.
Is that the peach pudding?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Peach pudding.
That's a good one.
Smells
Mhm.
good.
Tis good.
Oh, Chuck's in chat. Shout out to you, Chuck.
Yeah, shout out, Chuck. Good seeing you the other day or yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday. How was it? Tell
Was
us.
it
Give,
yesterday?
give us a quick wrap of that.
Wow, we didn't really talk about it.
Oh, all awesome as always. Always great to see familiar flavors.
Places.
Always great to
Flavor.
see familiar always great to smell familiar flavors, see familiar faces, and also new faces at the Fledge. Oh, that's a tongue twister there. Okay. It was a windy day. It started out a little bit wet and rainy, and 248 Glass was stationed up outside doing some glass demos, but had to actually shut down the tent because of the wind. So
Oh yeah.
he sends
That's a
his
bummer.
love to everybody who was out there to see him blow glass and wasn't able to. In addition to that, we were set up, of course, in between the foyer and the main room. The dab bar was set up in the basement this time to add a little bit extra space, and I actually didn't get a
Nice.
chance to follow the yellow brick road down there to go see what was going on. They had yellow bricks.
Oh, I love going downstairs because that's where the recording studio is.
Yeah, and I've only gone down there to use the bathroom. So for
Oh,
me,
really?
it's just
Oh, I've
like
checked out that
there's
studio.
been
It's
some
super
things
cool.
going on, and I don't want to interrupt or intrude, so I just give it a side eye and just make my way to the in and out
Super
of the
cool down
bathroom,
there.
go upstairs at the thing. Shout out to the food vendor, of course. I had some delicious nori fries and some egg rolls. They always get me, even though I'm usually pretty particular with which type of food and seed oils. Generally, no seed oils at all that go into my body. But for them, I will allow nori fries in seed oils and their egg rolls, and I will take on whichever discomfort that may come from it because it is a very delicious dish. And I can't think of the name of that food vendor that was there giving me the delicious dish, so I don't know why I'm going in
I
such
can't remember either.
detail.
I know I did hear that the food was good.
Shout out to all the other vendors there. Yeah, Tara. So we had a fresh drop there with us this time, and we actually didn't bring any others except for the top end of that drop because that's all we were able to prepare. So no
Yeah.
bottoms, no dry sift, no additional
Okay.
oils or anything like that off this top end.
I was
No-
definitely bummed to miss it, but
yeah,
my
there were
grandson's
no
birthday, you know.
what would you call it, budget ounces, smalls, or any. We weren't able to get into any back stock or anything for the budget, those looking for budget premium flour or anything like that. But Handheld Food Co is the name of that food vendor with the delicious egg rolls and nori fries and pork samplers and all kinds of shit, dude. Yeah,
I've definitely had them before, and they are super good.
always super good.
Yeah.
As always, everybody that came out, big thank you, big love, big shout out to Big Jar Gross. A lot of bigs in this one. He came and he hooked me up with this. What is that? Is that a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge? I think that's a 20 gauge shotgun shell looking thing. Oh yeah, see. And this one's got the carabanger.
That's super cool.
The hook for your the necklace.
Oh,
You
I
You got
love
a new
it.
you got a new pendant.
loop and get around the garden. And this bad boy is got the O-ring seal.
That's cool.
It's grooved to accept that seal, so we can take this 12 gauge. Man,
He
it just
is
looks like a
his
shell,
3D
doesn't it?
printing
This
is
thing
off
looks
the
like a
hook
shell.
It's
right
like
now.
a 4 gauge, dude. That thing is huge.
Yeah, seriously. This is what you shoot
100 caliber.
fireworks with. This
Yeah,
is
yeah. Look,
yeah.
it even matches the Puffco. He did.
That's
He does.
cool.
That's
Oh,
cool.
very nice.
That's
You can see
cool.
the
Look at
purple
that.
go. There you go.
He showed
We
me what he
got-
made his nephew, and it's the head of Batman that he 3D printed. And I was like, damn, that is a freaking gift right there.
Yeah, he's on it.
He
So
really
light
is
those
on
He
things
it.
has cones right in there.
Yeah, the cones they go in here.
The Q-tip, I love it.
Q-tip in there,
Super
and
cool.
and I'll have to swab it out. This is a fresh item, and I'm sure that he hasn't done too much R&D on these. And there's a little bit of like plastic threading, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna be mindful to get that out. But I want you guys to give Big Jar Grows a shout if this is something that interests you. He's also who did that little device. Look back a couple episodes he did for Growly's thing there.
Oh,
Tara's got a doobie holder.
I'm using this for my Q-tips.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Yeah. It's
That's-
super cool. I love it.
That's
Ah!
sweet, Tara. Fuck
Love
yeah,
it.
that's a great idea.
Cone packer. Look at this thing.
Look at
Cone
you.
packer.
Dang,
Oh, and I got this little thing
See?
also that he gave my grandson. That's a bubble blower for the bathtub.
Ah. I wonder if I can do that with this.
I would. Yes, dude. That just reminded me. I love
Yeah.
those
Love Big
quad
Jar.
bubble pipes. A pipe. The
Yeah,
bubble.
those were
Remember
cool.
when we were kids? We had bubble pipes.
Yeah.
The
Man,
little red pipe
like-
with four. Yeah.
why-
How many
Why are
times
you
did you
a stoner?
swallow it until you?
well, we had
figured it out?
candy, cigarettes, and bubble.
We were
pipes.
smarter than that, Rolly.
Oh, there's where to
This was
work.
back when you had to be smarter. You would not have lived that long if you weren't.
I'm
smart.
still here. Somehow I
Really
made it. Swallowed a lot of soap on the way, but you know I'm here.
I swallowed soap.
Uh,
That was for lying. When I was lying when I was a kid, my mom made me eat soap, and I
Get the bar.
got over that lying real quick. That's,
Like I'm really surprised that like more people don't see the crossover between like the tobacco industry and the toy and food.
Big League Chew and
Like-
Uh,
literally
you
bubble
probably
pipe-
do.
Bubble
Chew
pipes
so
and
awesome.
candy cigarettes. I mean,
I thought I was king shit if I had some big lead. Chew.
Big League
you can
Chew.
still be king shit and
Beef
go to the
jerky.
gas station
the beef
today.
jerky in the 2-container beef jerky. That was like I would get.
Beef
dude, I was
jerky is
addicted to
also
it.
awesome.
That's that new shit though. You know what I mean? Like, all right, guys, appreciate
Cheers,
all
man.
your time tonight. That
Cheers,
was a lot of
everybody.
good fun, good stories. Anybody got anything to plug before we check out until next week?
Oh no! Come back.
hey,
and-
we're gonna see Red and Becca on Let's Be Buds this week on
Let's
Wednesday.
be buds. We will be
we'll
on
be
Let's
there
Be
for
Buds
that.
this week.
oh yeah.
So
That's
can't wait to
awesome.
chat, you guys.
I'll be on a Saturday night of Fumador as well.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
Next
They're
Saturday.
still
Maybe
around.
this
I didn't know
Saturday
that.
or next Saturday or
Hell
something.
yeah, Red.
Nice.
Huh.
Fumador's been doing some interviews and stuff, and I told him I'm going to jump on his show.
Cool.
Tuesday nights are packed up now that we're aiming for that farmers market on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and see you all at Gems and Genetics in June.
Nice.
That's right.
And
Thanks,
I'll say
everyone.
because we
Coming
didn't
up.
have a show last week, shout out to all the moms. Happy belated Mother's Day. And
Thank
of course,
you.
including everybody
Got
here on this
great moms
panel.
with
And
us.
Well, hold on a second. Wait a minute. You posted it.
have a great night,
We
everybody.
didn't talk about it. Girl's having a baby.
Number 4.
Congrats.
Congratulations for really seriously. He posted it so
Congrats.
it's live, guys. Shout out to Mazu Pot, the whole Fagroli family. We're gonna close out the show. If you stayed along this far to find out that Fagroli's having a baby, send him some fucking love and give us some thumbs up.
Yeah, man.
Out, guys.
Cheers, guys. Have a great night.
Just love everybody.
Man.